Hello everyone, myself Assistant Professor Vatsal D. Patel from Civil Engineering Department working at Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center Navsari. Today we are going to discuss about creating value. So in the previous video, we have seen the first aspect of a contributor's mindset, which is the contributor's willingness and capacity to find solution. Now let's see the second aspect, which is creating value. So the second aspect of a contributor mindset is his or her goal of creating value, like for self, for family, for the team, for the organization, and for customer and for the society. In short, the contributors aims to create value for all stakeholders in his or her life. So, what does creating value mean? It means making a positive difference, a tangible impact, a specific contribution to any situation. This positive difference or impact can be in the form of achieving a specific goal, creating a product, creating human touch in a particular interaction, or enhancing one's own capacity or the capacity of one's colleagues and teammates. So, the contributors are therefore extremely result focused, but the result is measured in terms of value created. So, let us understand it with various example. Here, non-contributor type person will think like this new cell phone is bigger and more fancy than my previous one. And contributor type person will think like this new cell phone will give me some important new capabilities to make my life more efficient. So here we can see that non-contributor type person only concerned about size and look of the cell phone. They compare product which they used previously on the basis of look or say size only. They do not concern about the quality of that product. Whereas contributor type person focuses on the features of that cell phone. They think like by using it they will develop new capability by using it which will make best use of that product, and by this their life will be more efficient. So these type of persons mainly focus on features or say effectiveness of the product. So from this we can learn that non-contributors focus on the attributes of a product or a service, and the contributors focus on the value of a product or a service. Let us understand it in detail with one more example. Here, non-contributor type person will think like I failed in the exam, I have lost a year. And contributor type person will think like I failed in the exam, I have now learned the importance of discipline and hard work. So here we can see that non-contributor type person think like they have lost everything if they fail in their life. They see them as a failure and not take a lesson from that failure. Whereas contributors type person think like true they have been failed in their life, they can learn something. They see them as a learner and learn a lesson that they have now understand the importance of discipline and hard work. So from this we can learn that non-contributors focus on what they have lost in the experience, and contributors focus on what they have been learned from the experience. Let's see one more example for it. Here, non-contributor type person will think like If I am late, then the teacher will be angry. And contributor type person will think like, if I learn to be on time, then I can achieve so much more in a day. So here we can see that non-contributor type person will think like, if he will be late, then the teacher will be angry on him. But he did not focus on study, which is the important one. If he will be late for the class, he may miss the important things in the class, but he think about punishments for it. Whereas contributor type person will think like, if they learn to be on time to reach the class, they can achieve much more in a day. So contributor type persons focus on study which are useful for their life. Sorry. They think like, by practicing it regularly, they can achieve more in a day by perfect planning of the time. So from this we can learn that non-contributors focus on the rewards and punishments of doing the right things, and the contributors focus on the value of doing the right things. Let us understand it with one more example. So if we talk about buying goods, let's see what non-contributor and contributor type person think about it. So here we can see that non-contributor type person mainly focus on the price of that particular product, whereas contributor type person mainly focus about the product experience, not the cost. So from this we can learn that non-contributor type persons mainly focus on price of the product. They do not care about quality of that product. Their thinking will be like, if the same product is available at lower price, they will buy that product. But they do not see that at this cost they are getting the features or function of that product are not according to their requirements. Whereas contributors type persons focus on experience of that product. They think like about the quality and the productivity of that things in real world. They think like price of product may be low or high, but that product should provide values to others. So non-contributors focuses only on the price of goods or say things, and contributors focus on how these goods or things will be valuable for others. Sorry. So now to introduce values in our life, let's set role model for it in our life. So each and every one of us know the Thomas Alva Edison, but many of us not know the story behind him. So let's see it. Thomas Edison exerted a tremendous influence on modern life, contributing inventions such as the incandescent light bulb, the phonograph, and the motion picture camera, as well as improving the telegraph and telephone. So, in his 84 years, he acquired an astounding 1093 patents. While not all of his inventions were based on original ideas, he did a great service to society by turning those ideas into reality and by giving them commercial value. Once he said, I have not failed 10,000 times. I have found 10,000 ways that will not work. So, in December 1914, when Thomas Edison was 67, his laboratory was virtually destroyed by fire. Much of his work went up in flames that night. On reaching the site, Edison's 24-year-old son Charles was appalled at the sight of destruction and started thinking like, oh God, a lifetime's work is destroyed. Father would be devastated at his age, this loss. However, Charles found Edison calmly watching the scene, his face glowing in the reflection. Next morning, looking at the ruins, Edison said, there is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burned up. Thank God we can start afresh. And 3 weeks after the fire, Edison delivered his first phonograph. So, from this, we can learn that Edison demonstrated value focus in this story. Edison saw the disaster as an opportunity to let go past work and start afresh, and that have impacted Edison's future work, and he came with the new innovation. So, contributors can see value both in success and in failure. So, imagine that after days of working hard, you and your team have come up with a solution to your client's problem. However, the client rejects it, saying that they do not have the expertise to implement it. They tell you to revoke the entire thing. What would happen if you kept sticking to your old solution, refusing to learn and move on to create a new solution that works for the client? So, give me your answers for it. Let us understand it with one more example. Here, Rakesh, a business executive, fondly remembers his father and recalls an incident that took place over 15 years ago. Once he went to his father and said, there is this rock concert happening. Rick Smart, the biggest rock star from Britain, is visiting India for the first time. All my friends are going for it. Please, can I go too? I really want to. No, I really want to go. His father said, rupees 1500 for seeing a bunch of people jump around and shake their hands here? No. And he replied, okay. Then his father think about it. The price is indeed high, but who knows when Rakesh will get the chance to experience a rock concert of this kind again? What is the value of this? Later in the night, he went to his son's room and said, here, take the money, go for the show. His son asked, but in the morning you said, why this now? And his father replied, you will remember this experience for your whole life. So, from this, we can learn that Rakesh's father made a choice, recognizing that rupees 1500 was not the price he was paying for only a concert ticket, but for a lifetime experience for his son. Like, what is the value of a once in a lifetime experience? So, in the story, the intangible benefits greatly influence the decision making process. So, how can you apply this focus on value while making your own career choices? So, do share your answers about what is the intangible values that a job brings with it, which is not captured in the salary paid, like challenges, learning, etc. etc. Let us define creating value in our life by understanding one incident between one car driver and passenger. So here we can see passenger is saying, I had flown to Mumbai for a client meeting. Time was limited as after the meeting I had to catch my return flight. At the airport, I was waiting for a taxi when a spotless cab pulled up. I still remember that ride. When the driver rushed to open the passenger door for me, he made sure I was comfortably seated before he closed the door. Then he informed me, the traffic is bad today, sir. It will take us about an hour or so to reach your destination. Relax and enjoy the journey, sir. There is a newspaper for you to read. Also, in case you want to listen to music, there are tabs you can choose from. I was quite I was quite surprised at the service I was receiving. I first sent an SMS to the client's office that I would be there in an hour or so, and then decided to take his advice and relax. I told him, obviously, you take great pride in your work. You must have a story to tell. He replied, I came from the village to earn money. Realized that I love driving cars, being of service, and feeling like I have done a full day's work. But one thing I know for sure, to be good in my business, I could simply meet the expectations of my passengers. But to be great in my business, I had to exceed the customer's expectations. I want to be great rather than just get by being average. So, from this, we can learn that the taxi driver understood the value he would be providing for the customer by the extra effort he was putting in. So, what do you think is the value he required in return for all these efforts? Do give your answers. Let's see one incident to understand creating value. Sujal is the head of the organizing committee for the college technology festival. About 3 weeks back, he found some money missing. Like, oh, there is 5,000 rupees less. So he discussed it with his friends, and his one friend replied, it must be Mahesh. He is always so rude and keeps to himself. And second one suggested, Sujal, we should report our suspicion to the college authorities. But Sujal said, wait, we should not jump to conclusions. Then Sujal talks to Mahesh. Initially, Mahesh is rude and close, but through gentle persistence, Sujal gets him talking. He realizes that Mahesh is innocent. Mahesh said, I am paying the price of being unpopular. And Sujal told him, I believe in you. Somebody else has taken the money. We have to find out who. Despite searching extensively, when they don't find the money, Sujal asks some of his friends to contribute towards replacing the lost money while others continue to doubt. Several weeks later, Sujal said, we found who took the money. Mahesh is innocent. And his friend replied him that, thank God you did not listen to us. accusing Mahesh, Sujal, we are sorry. So, from this, we can learn that Sujal made a choice of getting to the root of the matter instead of jumping to a conclusion based on general perception. So, Sujal created genuine human value to his team members. So, the focus on value leads to cohesive teams. Now let's see one case study of R. Sriram, founder of the Crossword bookstore chain. People did not know which book to buy. They even did not know why they should spend money on books. So we had to first educate them and create awareness in them about the benefits of books. We felt that we need to create an environment that enables people to discover the value that books can add to their lives. We decided that we will not design a bookstore. We will design a store that will inform, provide knowledge, entertain, and enlighten. We enable people to sit and browse, and this browsing experience created very successful converts out of people who never read books. We offer not only more but different for the same price, as we were not competing on the price. At Crossword, we offered a taste for books, says R. Sriram. Thus, Crossword not only offered a wide range of products but also created an ambience that would get the customer to spend more time at the store. They had sitting arrangements where customers could relax and read. They also added services like Dial a Book, where customers can order a book on the phone and they will deliver it at no extra cost. Free home delivery was also first introduced by them. The harmonious atmosphere in the store created more value for the customers' time. At the end of the day, I know that through my work I have touched a lot of lives. Finally, it's not about money or fame. It is the extent to which you are able to make a difference which makes the journey worth its while, says R. Sriram. So, from this, we can learn that R. Sriram's actions and thinking demonstrates to us his focus on value. So, think about what is the value of creating a great experience for customers. Think about in the workplace what can be the consequences if in trying to save money you are harsh and give customer a bad experience. Consider immediate consequences, also long-term consequences on the relationship, on the brand image of your company, etc. Now, let us understand the concept of creating value by one more example. Mishra and Sharma are both highly knowledgeable shift supervisors, respected for their expertise in the production plant of a pharmaceutical company. The senior management notices that workers in Mishra's shift enjoy their work and are highly motivated and committed. However, workers in Sharma's shift are sullen, mechanical in their work, and take leave very often. Sharma also complains that the workers in his shift are incompetent. The senior management decides to find out why. So let's see their finding about Mishra. Mishra wants work to be error free. When Mishra observes mistakes being made in production, He points this out to the plant workers, explaining the full logic of the compounds and procedures. He further encourages questions, helping them understand linkages to work being done in other departments. He guides them on how to improve their work. Now let's see their findings about Sharma. Sharma wants work to be error free. He dislikes incompetence when he observes mistakes. He takes serious action against the culprit. He discourages unnecessary questioning and shouts at them, telling them to focus on their own work and not ask questions that are out of scope of their work. So, from this, we can learn that by encouraging questioning, helping them see their contribution in light of the larger picture, and providing guidance, Mishra created a highly motivated and learning environment for his team. And through Sharma's intention was to get error-free work to benefit the organization. Think about what was the value he destroyed by being harsh with his team. Consider the impact on motivation of team and how does this affect the organization in the long run. So we can say that contributor leaders focus on building value through human capital. Now let's see another story to understand creating value in detail. Satish loved football. He had lost one leg in a road accident a few years ago, so he could no longer play in the college football team. However, he usually sat on the bench watching every match. He went for most practice sessions, keenly observing each player's strengths and weaknesses. Satish's good humor and encouraging spirit made him popular with the team members and the coach. They often turned to him for his opinion and ideas on their game strategy. Satish rarely missed a team practice. When the team got the opportunity to travel for state level games, the coach and team captain got the required permissions and invited Satish to accompany them as a honorary team member. So, from this, we can learn that despite his accident, Satish did not lose all hope. He recognized the value of acting positively in the situation and contributing in the best way he could to the football team. This made him persist in being there and adding genuine value in every team practice. So just think about what is the value of responding positively to adversities. Like in the workplace, imagine that you faced a professional setbacks, for example, loss of job, loss promotion, etc. etc. So, what could be the possible consequences of not being able to see the hidden values of these experiences? What is the usual reaction to such a setback? What is the value hidden in the setback? So, we can say that even a non player can contribute through encouragements and positive thinking. Like if we talk about students, when a student has exams, his or her parents are non-player, yet they can contribute in that situation. So now let's talk about Dhirubhai Ambani, Indian businessman magnate and entrepreneur. Dhirubhai Ambani started his career at the age of 16 as a dispatch clerk in Aden in 1948. He was later promoted as a manager in an oil filling station at the port of Aden. He was a keen learner, taking advantage of all possible sources of learning. During lunch break, he roamed the bazaars or say market of Eden, where traders from the numerous different continents and countries brought and sold goods worth millions of pounds sterling. He met and learned from traders from all parts of Europe, Africa, India, Japan, and China. To learn commodity trading, he offered to work free for a Gujarati trading firm where he learned accounting, bookkeeping, preparing shipping papers and documents, and dealing with banks and insurance companies. He devoted long hours of the night to mastering English. Even while working in a petrol pump, he had the vision of owning a refinery. He came back to India in 1958 and founded Reliance Industries with an investment of rupees 15,000. Today, the company employs over 85,000 people and provides almost 5% of the central government's total tax revenue. So, from this, we can learn that Dhirubhai Ambani learned from every experience and from every possible source. So, it includes the value of building one's capability through continuous learning. So, in today's consistently changing work and market conditions, it is important to make the most of every experience, seeing it as an opportunity to learn continuously. So, think about with new technology being introduced on a regular basis. If one does not remain updated of those, what can be the consequences of the organization? If one's capabilities are static, what can be consequences to others or say one's future career prospect? If you want to change your field of work, then how can constant learning create value for you? So, at last, only I want to say that people of foreign countries are turning out such golden results from the raw material produced in our country, and we, like asses of burden, are only carrying their load. The people of foreign countries import Indian raw goods, manufacture various commodities by bringing their intelligence to bear upon them and become great. Whereas we have locked up our intelligence, thrown away your inherited wealth to others, and roam about crying piteously for the food. So, here I end my session. Thank you, all of you.